Every trader believes the battle is on the screen. Charts, patterns, indicators. But the real battlefield is the mind. In those final minutes before the bell, when fatigue blurs your vision and FOMO whispers in your ear, your greatest enemy isn't the market. It's the quiet voice inside that says just one more trade. This episode isn't about strategy. It's about self-control. It's about learning to recognize when your logic fades and your emotions take the wheel. Because success in trading doesn't come from predicting the next candle. It comes from mastering the one thing that moves before every market does, your own mind. So sit back, breathe slowly, and as you listen, don't just think about charts or setups. Think about yourself, the patterns inside you, the impulses you feed, the stillness you've been avoiding. Welcome to Mind Over Markets. This is Last Hour Rules. Avoid fatigue and late FOMO. You know that feeling. The charts are starting to blur. The candles move, but your focus drifts. You've been watching the screen for hours, eyes heavy, mind restless. And then it happens. A sudden move, a spike. That one setup you've been waiting for all day shows up in the final hour. Your pulse quickens. Your brain whispers, "This is it. Don't miss it. You've earned this one." And before you realize it, your mouse clicks, your order fills, and your plan disappears into the noise. What happens next? You already know. The market snaps back. The move fades. The profit you built all day, gone. And as you stare at the red number glowing on your screen, a quiet thought crawls through your mind. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Every trader meets this hour, the last hour, a strange, dangerous place where fatigue and greed dance together. It's the moment when your brain is tired, but your hope is still alive, and that combination is deadly. You tell yourself just one more trade. You say it softly, almost like a lullaby to your ego. But what you really mean is, I can't stand ending the day without proving something. Because the truth is, you're not chasing the market anymore. You're chasing closure. You're chasing the feeling of being right one last time. There's a concept in psychology called ego depletion. It means your willpower is not infinite. Each decision, each chart you stare at, each emotion you suppress, drains that mental battery just a little more. By the time you reach the last hour, your analytical mind is running on fumes. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that plans, that weighs risk, is tired. And when it shuts down, your primitive mind takes over. The one that doesn't think, it reacts. That's why at the end of a long trading day, discipline fades. You become the same person you promised never to be again, the impulsive one, the one who trades emotion, not logic. Most traders think they lose because of bad setups, but in reality they lose because of bad states of mind. They forget that fatigue is a form of intoxication. When you're tired, you don't feel drunk, but your judgment is just as blurred. You don't notice how your emotions slip through the cracks, how each candle suddenly feels personal, how each tick becomes a test of your worth. And that's the hidden trap of the last hour. You think you're trading the market, but you're really trading your own exhaustion. You see, FOMO, the fear of missing out, isn't born from opportunity. It's born from fatigue and regret. After hours of waiting, your mind starts bargaining. It whispers, "You've been patient all day. You deserve to catch this move." But what it's really saying is, I can't accept ending the day without feeling significant. Because for many traders, trading isn't just a job, it's a mirror. A place where they measure their intelligence, their control, their self-worth. And when that mirror reflects nothing, no action, no profit, it stings. So we click, not because we saw a signal, but because we couldn't bear the silence. Here's the paradox. In the last hour, the market becomes the most unpredictable, and we become the most vulnerable. It's the perfect storm of external chaos and internal weakness. The professional trader knows this. They don't trade more when they're tired, they trade less. They know that each decision made in exhaustion costs double. But the average trader, they mistake tiredness for discipline. They believe that staying longer means they're dedicated, that one more hour means they're serious about success. But in reality, it's not dedication, it's denial. Denial of the truth that the body has limits and the mind even more so. You can see it in their eyes. The late-hour traders' slouched forward pupils reflecting the flicker of the charts, breathing shallow jaw tight. They tell themselves they're focused, but what they really are is trapped. Trapped in the loop of dopamine and despair. Because trading is not about making decisions, it's about managing urges. And when the day grows long, the urge wins. Every late-hour trade feels like redemption. It promises closure, justice, validation. But what it really delivers is punishment. Let me tell you something you may not want to hear. You don't lose money in the last hour because the market changes. You lose it because you change. At 9 a.m., you're calm, rational, methodical. You wait for confirmation. You follow your plan. At 3 p.m., you're emotional, restless, desperate to make the day mean something. You see what you want to see, not what's there. The same chart, two different minds. And that's the problem. Trading doesn't punish the weak market. It punishes the weak state. So when you sit there staring at the screen telling yourself this setup looks perfect, ask yourself first, is it the setup or my exhaustion that looks perfect? Because sometimes the most profitable trade is to close the laptop, to let the market finish without you, not because you're giving up beer, but because you're choosing control over compulsion. And that's the first rule of mastering the last hour. There's something strange about the way the brain reacts to markets. It doesn't just process data, it craves stimulation. Every candle, every sound, every notification to you releases a small drop of dopamine, not enough to make you euphoric, just enough to keep you chasing. Like a slot machine that never pays out but keeps spinning, whispering, maybe the next one. And in trading, that next one never ends. You see, dopamine isn't the chemical of pleasure, it's the chemical of anticipation. It doesn't reward you when you win, it rewards you when you expect to win. That's why you can lose a trade and still feel hooked. Your brain isn't addicted to profits, it's addicted to possibilities. And in the last hour, those possibilities explode. You've been watching the chart all day. You've seen every fake out, every hesitation, every tease. By the time the final hour arrives, your dopamine system is screaming for resolution. It's not about money anymore. It's about relief. But dopamine is a liar. It promises peace through more action. It whispers just one more trade and you'll finally relax. But you know the truth. One more trade never brings peace, only another cycle of tension. That's why traders stay stuck. They confuse excitement for clarity. They chase the next move thinking it will calm the storm, when in fact it is the storm. Psychologists call it the illusion of control. The belief that if you just stay longer, watch harder, or act faster, you can bend uncertainty to your will. But markets are not machines, they are mirrors. And the more you try to control them, the more they reflect your fear back at you. When you're in control, you're calm. When you're desperate to be in control, you're already losing it. The late-hour trader doesn't lose to volatility. They lose to the illusion that they still have power over it. Think about it. You tell yourself, if I stay till the end, I won't miss the move. But what you're really saying is, I don't trust that I'll be okay without it. That's not strategy, that's scarcity. A fear that if you don't act, you'll fall behind. That the world will move on without you. That someone somewhere will make the money you didn't. But that's not trading, that's comparison. And comparison poisons judgment. Because you stop looking at your plan and start looking at other people's outcomes. You trade against ghosts, phantoms of traders. You've never met screenshots you've seen online and voices in your head whispering, "You're missing out." FOMO isn't just fear of missing out. It's fear of being left behind, fear of being irrelevant, fear of sitting still when others seem to be moving. But real traders understand something the crowd never will. There's a kind of power in doing nothing. Patience is not inaction. It's precision. It's saying, "I don't need to move, the market will come to me." Every professional knows that by the final hour, the best trades have already happened. The rest are traps, set by exhaustion, fueled by emotion, and disguised as opportunity. Let me tell you something most traders never realize. The end of the day is not a time for trading. It's a time for integration. All day long, you collect fragments of emotion, reaction, hope, and fear. The last hour is your mirror. It reflects everything you did right and everything you still can't control. That's why the professionals step away, not because they're done trading, but because they're still learning. They spend that hour asking, what emotion dominated me today? Did I follow my process or did I follow my impulses? What pattern in me needs more discipline, not the chart, but the mind? They don't need one more trade to feel complete. They need one more truth to feel free. There's a strange silence that fills the room when you finally decide to stop trading before the bell. At first it feels wrong. You feel like you're abandoning something, like you're missing a conversation that's still happening without you. But then a few minutes later, you feel something else, relief, clarity, stillness. That's the silence most traders never hear because they're too busy chasing noise. When you learn to close your charts before your emotions close you, you step into a higher level of trading, one where performance becomes presence. The truth is, markets don't demand perfection. They demand self-awareness. They don't punish mistakes. They punish repetition. They don't care about your goals, only your discipline. You cannot outsmart fatigue. You cannot outthink dopamine, but you can outlast them through awareness. That's what the last hour is for. Not trading, not chasing, but seeing yourself clearly without illusion. Because the moment you see the pattern inside you, you stop being a victim of it. So as the clock ticks down and your mind starts whispering one more trade, one more chance, pause, breathe. Look at your hands, the same hands that could click a button and undo an entire day's work. Ask yourself, do I really want to end this day reacting or remembering that I chose peace over impulse? Because the last hour isn't the end of the session. It's the test. The moment the market stops testing your strategy and starts testing your soul. That's where mastery begins. Not in the first trade of the day, but in the last trade you decide not to take. When the closing bell finally echoes, most traders exhale in relief. The charts freeze, the noise fades, but the mind keeps spinning because the market never really closes inside your head. It lingers in the replay of every missed entry, every premature exit, every if only. And that's why the last hour doesn't truly end at the bell. It ends when you decide to let go. Letting go is harder than trading. It means surrendering the need to fix the past. It means forgiving yourself for being human, for getting tired, for chasing, for breaking your own rules. That's the quiet work no one sees. The work of rebuilding trust with yourself. The work of separating who you are from what your P&L says you are. Because until you do, every next session begins with a wound. And wounded traders don't trade, they react. There's a ritual many professional traders follow, though few talk about it. They call it the decompression hour. When the market closes, they don't rush to dinner or to the gym. They sit with their day, not the charts, but the emotions behind them. They ask simple questions. What emotion drove me today? Did I trade my plan or my feelings? Where did I lose presence? And in those quiet minutes, they transform experience into wisdom. You see, reflection is not self-criticism, it's self-observation without judgment. It's the ability to look at your mistakes and say, yes, that was me, but it doesn't have to be me tomorrow. This is how awareness rewires the brain. Every time you review without shame, you teach your nervous system that mistakes are data, not danger. And slowly the cycle of impulsive trading breaks. Detachment isn't apathy. It's mastery of attention. It's the power to be fully present with the market without being defined by it. When you can watch a setup form and not need to touch it, when you can see volatility rise and feel your pulse stay steady, you're no longer a trader reacting to charts. You're a consciousness observing patterns within the market and within yourself. That's the shift from performance to presence. But detachment must be practiced. It doesn't arrive through knowledge, it arrives through ritual. Here's a simple ritual used by traders who last decades, not months. When the day ends, they write 2 sentences. The first begins with, "Today I felt." The second begins with, "Tomorrow I choose." That's it. 10 seconds. But those 10 seconds draw a line between past and future. Today I felt impatient. Tomorrow I choose patience. Today I chased noise. Tomorrow I choose silence. Today I fought the market. Tomorrow I choose to listen. With each line, the nervous system resets. The day is no longer a blur, it becomes a lesson. Because the purpose of the last hour rule isn't just to avoid bad trades. It's to reclaim your mind before fatigue owns it. It's to end the day with intention instead of reaction. Think of pilots before landing. They have checklists not because they expect to fail, but because they respect the moment. They know fatigue is invisible until it isn't. You need that same checklist for the close. Am I tired? Am I emotional? Am I trading to prove something? If any answer is yes, the day is over. No alarms, no guilt, just discipline wrapped in self-respect. The irony is that traders chase freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, life freedom, yet become slaves to their own screens. Freedom doesn't come from profit. It comes from psychological distance. The ability to walk away not because you're weak, but because you know you've done enough. That's what mind over markets really means. Not domination over price action, but liberation from compulsion. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the final minute before the bell. The chart flickers, volume fades. You feel the urge rise, that last second temptation to act. Now imagine choosing stillness instead. You take a breath, you lean back, you let the candle close without you. That moment of restraint is victory. That is the trade that defines professionals. From amateurs, the trade you don't take. And when the session is truly over, don't rush to fill the silence. Walk, write, breathe, let your nervous system recalibrate. Because the best traders don't just recover capital, they recover clarity. The market will open again tomorrow. It always does. The question is, will you open tomorrow with the same noise or with a little more peace? The last hour isn't about charts or candles. It's about character. It's the daily rehearsal of mastery. The chance to choose discipline over desire, awareness over adrenaline, and presence over performance. And when you can do that, when you can end the day not as a trader chasing profit, but as a human cultivating peace, you've already won the only game that matters. Because in the end, the market rewards the mind that's free enough to walk away when the work is done. When you finally learn to end the day on your own terms, something subtle shifts. The screen still glows, the numbers still move, but the urgency is gone. You're no longer inside the market, you're above it. You begin to see what most traders never notice. The chart was never the battle. The battle was always within. Every candle is just a mirror reflecting how you handle uncertainty, how you react to loss, how you define enough. And the moment you understand that trading stops being chaos and becomes meditation, mastery isn't the absence of emotion. It's the awareness of emotion without surrendering to it. Fear still comes. Greed still whispers. But you recognize their voices, old visitors you no longer need to obey. You stop fighting the noise. You simply stop believing it. Because the greatest traders are not fearless. They are self-aware. They know when their judgment fades, when fatigue distorts logic, when FOMO hides behind discipline. They see the storm inside them before it reaches the chart. There's a saying, discipline is remembering what you want. At the end of a long trading day, fatigue makes you forget. You forget your plan, your progress, your purpose. But when you close the platform early, you remember again. You remember that this isn't about one trade or one day or one win. It's about building a mind that lasts a lifetime. Think of the market as a teacher. It never speaks, but it always mirrors back your state of mind. If you're patient, it rewards you with clarity. If you're desperate, it punishes you with chaos. The market doesn't hate you. It just reveals you. That's why the last hour matters so much. It's not about opportunity, it's about honesty. Can you be honest enough to admit when you're done? Can you end the day with peace instead of proof? Imagine this. The sun has set. The charts are quiet. You look back on your day and instead of regret, you feel gratitude. Gratitude that you recognized your limits. Gratitude that you didn't let one impulsive moment erase a disciplined day. Gratitude that this time you chose stillness over noise. That's what progress looks like. Not perfection, but presence. Every trader chases consistency, but consistency isn't built through control, it's built through recovery. The more you rest your mind, the sharper your perception becomes. The more you protect your energy, the longer you can play the game. This is the paradox of trading psychology. The less you force the market, the more the market flows towards you. Because discipline is magnetic. It pulls opportunity to those who wait. When you respect the last hour rule, you're not avoiding the market, you're honoring your biology. You're telling your brain, you've done enough. Rest now. That rest resets everything. Your chemistry stabilizes. Your impulses quiet down. Your intuition grows louder, not from adrenaline, but from awareness. And that's the foundation of professional trading, a quiet mind that can listen. Tomorrow the charts will open again. New setups will form. New headlines will scream. New emotions will rise. But you'll enter differently. You'll enter rested, clear, detached. You'll know that your power doesn't come from endless effort, but from the ability to stop when the work is done. That's the discipline few ever master, the discipline of enough. So as this video ends and your day closes, remember this truth. The market is infinite. Your energy is not. Protect it, guard it, respect it. Because fatigue steals wisdom, FOMO steals peace, and peace is where clarity lives. When you learn to close your charts with peace in your chest, you've already made the most valuable trade of all the trade of ego, for awareness of noise, for silence of reaction, for mastery. And maybe one day you'll look back on your journey and realize that the breakthrough you were waiting for didn't happen in a perfect entry or a massive win. It happened the moment you stopped chasing. Because that's when you finally understood the market doesn't reward those who fight it. It rewards those who understand themselves within it. So tonight, as you step away from the screen, let the charts rest. Let your thoughts slow. Let your mind breathe. You've done enough for today. You've seen enough. You've learned enough. And that's exactly what the last hour rule is about. Not avoiding the market, but returning to yourself. Because in the end, the calm mind always wins. If you've made it this far, you already know trading isn't about outsmarting the market. It's about outgrowing your own reactions. The charts will always test you. Fatigue will return. FOMO will find new disguises. But every time you end the day with awareness, you weaken their grip. The last hour rule isn't a restriction, it's a release, a reminder that walking away can be the most powerful move you make. So tonight, as you close your charts and your mind finally quiets, remember this. You don't need to catch every move. You just need to protect the one thing that creates every move, your clarity. Trade less. See more. And when the next storm comes, you'll already know the rule that keeps you safe and strong, and still, and aware. Because the market will open again tomorrow, but your peace of mind is earned today. This is Mind Over Markets. Thank you for listening. Stay disciplined. Stay present. And until next time, master your mind before you master the market.